What's up, Patriots? Constitution Vet coming to you live in the field. Now that I'm back on this platform, it will be the normal field videos. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, guys, so let's just say you are teaching your students the differences between capitalism, socialism, and communism. These words are thrown around all the time, but not many people understand what they actually mean. By accident, last week, I stumbled upon this when I was teaching this to my students, and I found a really creative way to explain it. That way they can understand it. So I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, here we go. We're going to treat this like a gauge. Okay, on this half, you have capitalism. On the polar opposite, you have communism. Now, socialism is a little more complex, and we'll explain that here in a second, okay? But like any type of gauge, you're going to have a needle that varies depending on what the situation is. Capitalism, the fundamental thing that this revolves around, is the idea of private property. Not just literal land, but the privacy to your thoughts, to your beliefs, to your views, private property. Now, communism, okay, as championed by Karl Marx, okay, this is the complete abolition of private property, okay. In pure communism, there is no ruling authority. There is no state. There is no government. Everyone is equal in communism. Now, that might sound good at first, but if you actually dig into the writings of Marx, like his Communist Manifesto or his 18th Brumaire of Napoleon Bonaparte, in those writings, he talks about the problems of capitalism. But his solution is where his whole argument falls flat. His solution is the complete abolition of ruling authority, the complete dismantling of rulers, government, all that. Bottom line, capitalism is equality of opportunity, whereas communism is equality of outcome. Now, if you do some basic digging through human history, you'll learn that every single time any society has tried this equality of outcome, everyone being equal, it has failed every single time and has led to the deaths of millions. Now, we understand a clear difference between capitalism and communism. But what about socialism? This is where it gets interesting. This is why I use this analogy here as a needle. Socialism does exist in America, but not by a lot, though. The best way I can define socialism is how much control does the ruling authority have over society. In America, we as a society are willing to pay taxes towards public things, public schools, public libraries, public transportation, police departments, fire departments. Those are all social functions provided through our taxes and through state and federal governments. But notice how this socialism needle is very low in America. It's really not that high. But if we look at the United Kingdom, their needle is a little bit higher. Now, just because the socialism needle goes higher does not mean it's better. For example, in the UK, a lot of things are provided to its citizens, like free healthcare, free college. Well, that sounds great, but there's always a price to pay. The catch is that the people in the UK are more willing to pay much higher taxes to cover those social functions. Furthermore, the higher this needle goes, the more control government has on its society. Case in point, in America, you have the Second Amendment. UK? Nope. Now, if you go further to places like China, their socialism needle is pretty freaking high. Why? Because it provides a lot of things to its people. But it also takes away a lot of individual liberty from its people. Even in the Constitution, it states very clearly, you, the citizens of our great country, have freedoms. as long as they don't conflict with interests of the state. So again, their socialism needle is very high. Finally, this is where you have places like North Korea. The government controls every single aspect of your daily life. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ism gauge. It's a gauge that has helped my students better understand this. Review: capitalism is where you have socialism at its lowest, where you have private property and equality of opportunity. Communism is the polar opposite, where private property is abolished and everyone is equal, equality of outcome. The societies that do function are these in this range, where the socialism needle varies. It's very low in America, but your freedoms are wide. In North Korea, the socialism needle is on the polar opposite. The government controls all aspects of society with very little freedom. That's all I got, guys. Never surrender, never submit. This is Constitution Vet coming to you live in the field, signing out.